So you can see we got the same stud right over there. And we got the same stud there. Today, take a look at the Walabot.
Each year, roughly 2 billion low-tech pencils are sold in the US, and 14 billion are sold worldwide. So how do they do it? The journey of a pencil begins with the procurement of essential raw materials. The primary components of a pencil are graphite, clay, and wood. Graphite, a naturally occurring form of carbon, is extracted from mines worldwide. The highest quality graphite, known as vein graphite, comes from Sri Lanka and Madagascar. Simultaneously, the clay required for the pencil's core is collected from deposits and quarries. This clay is crucial in determining the pencil's hardness and the darkness of the lead. In addition to graphite and clay, wood plays a pivotal role in pencil construction. The most commonly used wood is cedar, more specifically California cedar, the choice wood for many years. Cedar has a pleasant odor, does not warp or lose its shape, and is readily available. Pencil manufacturers often rely on sustainable forestry practices to ensure the responsible sourcing of wood. Once the raw materials are obtained, the pencil core's preparation begins. First, the graphite and clay are ground into fine powders separately. The ratio of graphite to clay determines the pencil's lead hardness, with higher graphite content producing softer lead, and vice versa. Next, the powdered graphite and clay are mixed together with water to form a homogeneous paste. The paste undergoes a refining process to ensure uniformity. The mixture is then extruded through a machine to shape it into long, thin rods. These rods are cut into lengths corresponding to the pencil's final size. The process of mixing graphite with clay can be traced back to a chemist named Nicolas Jacques Comte. Interestingly, his discovery came as a result of the graphite shortage in the late 18th century. Comte discovered that when powdered graphite, powdered clay, and water were mixed, molded, and baked, the finished product wrote as smoothly as pure graphite. The invention was so revolutionary that it's still used in pencil production to this date. The next step in pencil manufacturing is the encasing process, where the prepared graphite cores are encased in wooden slats. These slats are typically made from cedar wood. The cedar usually arrives at the factory already dried, stained, and waxed to prevent warping. Logs are then sawed into narrow strips called slats. These are about 7.25 inches long, 0.25 inches thick, and 2.75 inches wide. The slats are then placed into a feeder and dropped, one by one, onto a conveyor belt, which moves them along at a constant rate. One by one, the slats pass under a giant cutting wheel. This wheel carves grooves into the slats that will become the channel in the middle that holds the lead. Continuing along the conveyor belt, half of the slats are coated with a layer of glue, and the cut graphite is laid in the grooves of these slats. The slats without glue and without graphite in the grooves are placed on another belt that carries them to a machine that picks them up and turns them over. So they're laying on the belt with the grooves facing down. The two conveyor belts then meet, and each unglued slat is placed over a slat with glue and graphite, forming a sandwich. After the sandwiches have been removed from the conveyor belt, they are placed into a metal clamp and squeezed by a hydraulic press and left clamped together until the glue is dry. Once bonded, the pencils go through shaping machines. These machines cut the pencil slats into their iconic hexagonal shape, which is the most popular due to its ergonomic design and resistance to rolling off surfaces. This is done in two steps. First, the upper cutter of the machine forms three sides on top. Then, its lower cutter shapes three sides on the bottom. As soon as the bottom sides form, the pencils separate. After shaping, the pencils undergo sanding to smoothen their surfaces. This step helps to remove any imperfections and provides a comfortable grip for users. The pencils are then coated with a protective layer to improve durability and appearance. A lacquer or enamel coating is applied, and the pencils are dried and polished to achieve a smooth finish. Sometimes pencils may receive additional treatments, such as a heat treatment, to enhance their strength and resistance to breakage. Many pencils come equipped with erasers at one end, making them versatile tools for writing and correcting mistakes. The erasers are typically made of synthetic rubber or a combination of rubber and other materials. The idea of attaching an eraser to a pencil is traced to Hyman W. Lipman, an American whose 1858 U.S. patent was bought by Joseph Reckendorfer in 1872 for a reported $100,000. The process of making an eraser starts with putting a batch of rubber into a mill. The rubber passes repeatedly between large, heated rollers. Additives, including pigments, fillers, and vulcanizing agents, are thrown in between the rollers. The mixture is blended thoroughly to ensure uniform distribution of the ingredients. Vulcanization is a critical process in eraser manufacturing. It typically occurs in specialized machines known as vulcanization presses or vulcanizers. These machines are designed to apply heat and pressure to the rubber compound, allowing the cross-linking of polymer chains and transforming the raw rubber material into a more durable and resilient form. On top of making it more elastic and resilient, vulcanization also helps make the rubber more effective in erasing pencil marks. To make plugs, which will be attached to the pencils, an extrusion process is usually used. The mixture in the form of a soft solid is forced through a die to form a long cylinder. The cylinder is repeatedly cut as it emerges, forming plugs. To attach the eraser, a ferrule, a metal or plastic piece, is inserted at the opposite end of the eraser and the assembly is fixed onto the pencil. This process may involve some automated steps, but certain pencils are still assembled manually. Pencils are often initially packaged in bulk quantities for distribution to retailers, wholesalers, and stationery suppliers. Bulk packaging typically involves packing large quantities of pencils into sturdy cardboard boxes. The boxes are designed to accommodate various pencil sizes and can hold hundreds or even thousands of pencils. For pencils intended for direct sale to consumers, retail packaging is used. Retail packaging typically includes individual pencil sets or packs. The pencils are neatly arranged and secured inside a cardboard, plastic, or blister pack. The packaging may also include branding, product information, and barcode labels for easy scanning at the point of sale. Because they travel along a conveyor belt during the manufacturing process, pencils are thoroughly scrutinized before they're distributed to the public. Workers are trained to discard pencils that appear dysfunctional, and a select number are sharpened and tested when the process is complete. A common problem is that the glue of the sandwiches sometimes don't adhere, but this nuisance is usually caught when the sandwiches are being cut. Even with the world going electronic, the pencil industry continues to steadily grow. The global market size of the pencil industry currently sits at $15.95 billion, but experts predict the market will grow by 7% by 2028.
First off, if you haven't made money with AI yet, don't worry. AI is the biggest wealth building opportunity in U.S. history.
Moolah, guap, bread, cheddar, cabbage. This paper that's usually covered with old dead guys' faces is known by many names. Heck, I probably have at least one in my wallet right now. Who am I kidding? I'm broke.
You like the money?
I love money, but I do not have it.
But have you ever wondered how exactly it's made? From a designer's imagination to some woman's bra and everything in between, we've got the insider's trade. Raw materials, historical controversies, the manufacturing process, and even counterfeiting. Today, we cash in on the truth about money, the ruler of this world. And if you stay long enough, you might even discover the weird reason why Benjamin Franklin purposely misspelled Pennsylvania on banknotes. Welcome to How Money is Made. Money evolved from bartering in 6000 BC to cowrie shells, then 7th century BC metal coins in Lydia, and 11th century paper money in China, leading to today's digital forms like credit cards and cryptocurrencies. In terms of the raw materials of money, cotton linen blends are used for paper money and mixed metals for coins. And interestingly, some notes feature holograms, plastic, and even ink that changes color. The manufacturing process of currency is ironically pricey and painstaking.
You gotta spend money to make money, right?
It's like crafting a Mona Lisa that ends up in your wallet instead of a museum. The first step in the journey of a banknote is design and engraving. LeBron James and SpongeBob handcraft the initial designs of these notes. Or if you want the boring answer, certified currency designers with real-life bachelor degrees.
To see just some of the intricate aspects of the creation of new currency, we called at a firm of security printers in the City of London, where a large proportion of the world's supply of new banknotes is produced. First stage is the design, which might be based on local history, customs, and national emblems and colors.
This is followed up by the engravers who then cut it by hand. The master die, which is a metal mold, often made of soft steel that contains the engraved design of the currency note, is used to create the printing plates that print this design onto the paper money. The engraving process is so intricate that whenever there's a change in the treasury of a country, the signatures on the banknotes are engraved by hand, ensuring precision and uniqueness. That's pretty intricate, my dude. The next step in the manufacturing is creating the master printing plate. After the master die is complete, it undergoes a cheeky but thorough inspection. A plastic sheet thinner than a rat's chest hair is then pressed in to the die to create a raised impression of the full design. Next step, paper manufacturing. Currency paper is not your plain old regular writing paper. It's often made of a mix of cotton pulp and other things like linen and goat teeth. Okay, maybe not goat teeth, but you get my point. During this stage, security features like security threads are incorporated. These threads, which are ribbon-like and run vertically through the paper, are visible only under certain conditions such as ultraviolet light and are critical in preventing counterfeiting. The threads can differ in material, ranging from metal to plastic, width and color. Alongside the security threads I mentioned, watermarks are also added during the paper manufacturing process, serving as another key anti-counterfeiting measure. Gotta bamboozle the looters, you feel me? Speaking of looters, did you know that in the 16th century, during Spain's conquest of the Aztecs and Incas, the massive amounts of gold and silver shipped back to Europe and China led to a century-long period of inflation?
This chamber needs no history lesson, my queen.
Anyways, next up in the manufacturing process is printing, of which there are 3 stages. Numero uno is offset printing. And by offset, I don't mean the wrapper. Offset printing is the initial layer of printing, where the background design is applied to the specially manufactured paper. The process uses high-precision color patterns and is capable of printing designs on both sides of the paper simultaneously.
Here's one thing you need to do before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch this first.
Numero dos is intaglio printing. This technique is then used for adding various portraits and designs that need to be slightly raised from the paper's surface. The excess ink is removed, leaving ink only in the indented areas of the design. The paper, already printed with the offset method, is then very lightly pressed against this plate using a humble 15,000 psi of pressure. Anyway, this pressure creates a raised imprint of the design. With me so far?
That's great. Perfect, thank you.
After thorough inspections at each stage, the notes that pass the watchful, quality-controlling eye of the Shadow Wizard Money Gang move on to letterpress printing. This stage involves printing serial numbers and signatures using specialized systems to ensure accuracy, particularly with serial numbers. Any notes found defective before this stage are absolutely annihilated. Why, you ask? Well, to prevent factory workers from accidentally slipping them into their long johns, I suspect. Moving on, we have cutting and packaging. Once all printing processes are complete, they are cut into individual bills. This is done using a vertical guillotine knife, which divides the sheets into stacks of 100 bills.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah, that doesn't look painful at all. These stacks are then banded, shrink-wrapped, and assembled into larger units called bricks. These bricks are finally distributed to different reserve banks and agencies, from where they eventually circulate to members of the public, such as yourself. Each step, from the initial artistic design to the final cutting and packaging, plays a crucial role in creating a secure and reliable form of physical money. Now it's time I hit you with some juicy tidbits on the unexpected history of money. Did you know that initially, money wasn't just coins or notes? In the Mayan civilization, cocoa beans were actually used as currency. This idea of using everyday items as money is seen in early Chinese society too, where cowrie shells were used around 1200 BCE. Did you know that Ben Franklin, who printed money for several colonies, deliberately misspelled Pennsylvania on currency, tricking counterfeiters into correcting it? Good move, Benji. The Roman Republic's influence on money was also pivotal. The word money itself is derived from Juno Moneta, a Roman goddess whose temple was near the money-minting site. She must be ultra-rich by now, huh? The journey of money, all the way from a designer's imagination to the cash register of an Indian man's grocery store, is quite a complex ordeal. The steps of designing and engraving, creating the master printing plate, paper manufacturing, the 3 printing processes, cutting, packaging, and then distribution, all participate to influence the final taste and smell we all know and love. This process transforms plain old globs of cotton pulp and linen into the pieces of paper that quite literally rule the world. And if you're curious and wish to know how other things are made too, then take a browse through our channel's video catalogue. The video on how candy canes are made might just have you pocket dialing Santa at 3 a.m.
For anyone struggling with earringing, do not drink water. You may not know this, but the biological reason why some people struggle with ringing, buzzing and swishing sounds known as tinnitus has nothing to do with their ears. This recently discovered phenomenon is the cause of hearing complications that can persist for decades and is why some have crystal clear hearing into their late ages. A study conducted in July of 2023
Hello friends and welcome